What's up? Welcome to the Odyssey. So, my oh my, this movie was quite a thrilling experience, and just overall made me laugh, made me cry, a little bit of both at the same time. I peed a little even. No, I'm joking, but I'm gonna save my spoiler review for, that was my phone, I'm gonna save my spoiler review for an actual podcast that's gonna be coming shortly. For this video, I want to talk a little bit about the picture, and I actually want to talk a little bit about this post that was actually on Instagram that talked about Thanos a little bit. But this picture actually came to my mind randomly when I thought, wow, I should really do an Infinity War styled picture. And strange enough, I didn't really think of one. I didn't think of that idea until a couple days before the premiere, and I thought, shoot, I gotta think of something really good, but at the same time nothing that wouldn't take too long because I want to upload it on time and be within a reasonable time frame. So I thought something Mickey Mouse related with the whole puppetry thing, him being up the puppeteer kind of controlling Thanos in the background, and I thought, could you imagine if they actually tried doing that in the movies? I said this in a Avengers video I did, a reaction video to Screen Rant's How It Should Have Ended, and I thought of like something like that, How It Should Have Ended. They did like a parody of it, and I thought, if I was into the movie making stuff, I would have all types of alternative scenes where they're not really alternate ending scenes or anything like that, just like random things that I would put in there just because of why not, and just nutty stuff because I just love that kind of stuff. And this would be kind of a thing I would add into Avengers Infinity War, but not in a theatrical release. It would be as a bonus it would be a bonus featurette when the movie is on DVD, so everyone can be okay again and be out of their feelings by the time the movie is over, you know? So I started off with Mickey Mouse just to get the proportions right and be able to figure out if I could fit this all on the paper, because I wanted to be a really grand scale picture. And I actually might add more to it in the future, like as a part 2, but I'm not sure. So at this point I was trying to get a feel for the picture, really draw out Thanos and figure out how to do it properly. And this was actually really cool. This was my first time ever drawing Thanos the character at all, and drawing the movie presentation of him was great. And I gotta admit, I love the movie representation of Thanos out of all the others that I've seen in the comics. So with that in mind, as I started filling out the picture and realizing where to go with it, I finally hit my stride with how I wanted it to go, and I started going from there. And this is when I started putting in the details from here. So from here, I'm going to transition to the post I saw on Instagram. I'm not going to actually pull out the person's name, or tell the person's name, I should say, because I don't want to put the person on blast, because I mean, it was their opinion and I can't be mad about that. So anyway, I copied it, I screenshot it and put it on my Instagram because I just wanted to put on a discussion. And what happened was, the person said that he didn't really like the way Thanos was handled in this movie, and this was his quote. The quote was, "He should be the most intelligent character. What we got was a short-sighted idiot. He preaches salvation. Instead of creating unlimited resources, he erases half the life of everyone in the universe. It took Earth less than 50 years to double its population. LOL. Is his plan to come back every 50 years and erase life? ... Trash." So with that, I gotta admit, he had some interesting points there. It's kind of crazy. He had the statistics and another part of his post showing how within the last 50 years we literally did double our population, which is crazy to me. And the thing was, that's just Earth, and we're talking about a fictional universe here with a whole bunch of other aliens, and who knows how much the Marvel Cinematic Universe actually is to ours as far as Earth goes. Maybe there isn't 7 billion people in the world, or 8 billion I should say at that point. And it's not Thanos' concern, because think of it this way. Thanos wasn't originally going to he wasn't going to spare Earth at first. He was actually going to blow it up and leave it to that. If it wasn't for Iron Man, I think it was just Iron Man who actually, if I remember correctly, I think it was just Iron Man who actually impressed him enough to spare Earth. But I mean, if not Iron Man, I'm just going to say the Avengers. They inspired him. They motivated him enough to not inspired, motivated, but they impressed him enough to spare the Earth. So I think his argument was a little weak. He did have some interesting points though, but I wouldn't say Thanos was a short-sighted idiot or anything like that. I think he was actually really refreshing as far as a villain would be, because in a way he wasn't really a villain. I mean, he had villain characteristics and he was an antagonist, I'll give you that, but he was in a way, but I mean at the same time a lot of good heroes kind of see themselves as a villain, so there's that argument too. He was an antagonist, he was for sure, but in a way he was kind of like, I would say maybe an anti-villain in some respect, but he, like I said, he did have villain characteristics, so he couldn't really be a good guy per se unless he changed a lot, and I mean a lot. So after reading this post, I decided to think about some other things here, and my thought was, well, my comment I should say, well, Thanos isn't just talking about Earth, he's talking about the whole universe, and obviously he knows we're always going to repopulate, that's life. But if he was worried about that, he would have wiped us all out, not just half the universe. He's talking about the whole grand scheme of things. Earth is just a little period compared to what he is worried about. He resets the clock, so to speak, because if you give us unlimited resources, what happens? We continue to expand even further. Yes, the unlimited resources is an interesting concept, but I mean, if you have to remember, excuse me, I'm actually going off the script here. Let me restart. Yes, the unlimited resources is an interesting concept, but you have to remember, to this character, he's also dealing with PTSD from what happened to his own world on Titan. And what kind of compelling story will it be if he just comes out of the woodwork like Oprah saying, you get resources, etc., etc. This is meant to be a what if story of what if a character like Thanos did what he felt was needed to be done, and frankly it's refreshing compared to his comic book counterpart who was just obsessed with death. And I think it was a really good way to handle it, a safer way to handle it too. And he's dealing with PTSD in regards to, because if you don't control the population to his thought process, this was his thought process I should say, then the universe is just going to wipe itself out from war and what else, So honestly, Thanos' way of thinking was a really well-written way to handle the character, especially from what he dealt with, and especially making it so he was a very caring person. And you don't really get that in the comics. All he really cares about is death, and it's just, I'll leave it at that. It was just a really crazy, great way to handle the character in the movie, and I think this is honestly the best Thanos I've seen personally, because I like the villains I can actually relate to, and the one in the comics I can't. It's cool, it's an interesting concept still regardless, him just being that insane. And I know there's a deeper thing to him in the comics as well, especially with his birth and all that, but I just mean the concept itself. So anyway, so this is when I got to the part with inking it. I really had a ball drawing this picture, and it did take me a little bit to get the full detail of Thanos and to get that angry look, especially with his eyes. But I feel that by the time I captured, I was really happy. I felt by the end of the process, though, I kind of messed up with the gauntlet. But with that, it was, I don't know. Something in the future is I want to look into more videos on how to capture more detail in my drawing and be able to figure out what I'm doing wrong with some of the instances. I know one of them is proportions. One thing I need to work on is my proportions with drawings, and figure out how to scope them a bit better than what I do, and be able to capture from that more so, succeed more, I should say. That sentence probably didn't come out wrong. It didn't come out right at all. Let me rephrase that. If I work on my proportions a bit more than what I do, I'll be able to do the pictures a lot better than as a lot better than what they come out. So, but that's artists in a nutshell. We always think we can do things better, and in a way we can, but practice makes perfect, etc. You grow as you continue working on it. So that's the whole process behind it. I actually do have another picture I want to work on in the future. It's another Mickey Mouse Avengers thing. I might have to redo it though, because I did it in a smaller sketchbook, and I kind of ran out of room. I was kind of limited to what I could do, but we'll see. I definitely want to do some more Avenger-esque stuff over the next couple months. We'll spread out, because there's a lot of more movies coming out that I'll talk about more so in the podcast. I look forward to bringing back my podcast and talking about this sort of stuff, because I wanted to talk more about it in this video, but I was really limited to what I could talk about because of the timing. So I wanted to make sure I finished my statement by the time I finished this whole thing here. And honestly, I think this was one of my most original, excuse me, hasn't been one of my most original pieces. I just thought about the other ones I did. This was one of the most fun I had, I should say, in the pieces I've uploaded, because of such a blast I had with watching the movie and coming back not only inspired but just motivated to feel like a superhero when I draw and write my own stories, and make sure that I have stories that give people what I feel whenever I'm watching a good or reading or playing a good story driven piece of media. It inspired me on that route to continue doing what I'm doing as an artist, working on my own stories, and look forward to seeing more original pieces. Well, this is original obviously, but I mean with my own original characters and whatnot in the future. Look forward to that, and more of my stories as I narrate them and whatnot, and more published stuff too in the future. And you know, movies like this inspire me in that respect, and also as far as physicalness goes, making sure that I keep up with the gym and get that Avengers Initiative body, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I love stuff like this. It's it's just amazing on its purest level. It motivates you on all levels, and that's the beauty of doing this thing on YouTube. I get to share experiences like this with you all, and in turn I hope inspire you all as well. So after that, I did color it a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of the markers I have, but I hope you enjoyed the final piece here. And there we go. I look forward to doing more of these in the future, more Infinity War. I want to do at least one more Infinity War piece for YouTube. So there we have it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any suggestions or want to talk about the movie or anything like that, do be sure to leave a comment below, and let me know if you have any suggestions for future videos to come as well. So until the winter sails again, I will see you in the next Odyssey. Later days.